I am Peg Williams, and my relationship to the Linden neighborhood is I am a resident, and I also volunteer for several civic groups. When I first moved into the neighborhood in 2001, of course, I was very excited about earning a home because I've been a renter for years and years and years, and I had accepted that I would never be a homeowner. When my realtor showed me this house on Cleveland Avenue near Windsor, and I walked in the door, I was ecstatic. This is the place. It has enough space. And he asked me, what you gonna do with all that space? I said, I have a big family. So whenever they're traveling through, I've got room for them to sleep, to rest their head. But I noticed one time, it just moving in, there seemed to be a lot of drama just along, because I don't have a TV. And I thought, well, I don't need no TV because I can sit right out here on the porch and enjoy the drama that takes place along Cleveland Avenue. The first event, I saw a policeman pull an individual on the side and give them a ticket.
Davis. I've lived in the Linden neighborhood area probably for about 45 years. When I first moved here, I was in the 4th grade. I used to live and moved up here from Main Street. Came up here and it was an all-white neighborhood when I first came here, so that was a different experience from where I came from. When I moved up here with my parents, this was as far as blacks were allowed to move to in the North End. We went to Linden Elementary, and Linden Elementary was probably about 1.5 miles from our house. So for being in the 4th grade, it was a long walk to get to school every day, So that's what I remember most of all, because I remember the closer schools that were around, and we weren't allowed to go there.
At the time, the fire station was across the street from where I lived. And I could wave across the street and say hello to the firemen. I really liked that the fire department was right across the street from me, because one of my biggest fears is my house burning down. Even though it's brick, fire burns everything, so I feel real comfortable.
My name is Lynetta Cannon, and I'm a parent consultant at Linden McKinley STEM Academy. The Linden Pass, when I first came to Linden, I used to stay in Whitehall, so it's a very big difference, because Whitehall is majority Caucasian, and to move up here where there's majority African Americans, that in itself is a change. The school district was a little different from what I'm used to. My children used to go outside because they were walking distance from the school, and also walking distance from a park. So they would go to the park all the time. It was no big deal. Walk outside, come from Latchkey, go to the park, and go down and check on them, come back. And it was just kind of a very friendly community. Everyone kind of looked out for each other. And when we got up here, things were a little bit different because of the crime that's up here. And it was kind of a change for my kids, because my kids were, they're teenagers now, but they basically stay in the house because of gunfires and some of the negativity that Linden has.
My name is Brian Alexander, and I'm a parent. I have 2 students that attend Linden McKinley. Originally, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. Then I had an experience with my son. He got off the bus one day, and the kids were hanging in the local neighborhood store, corner store. And he approached him to take his book bag. And he came home, and he just looked at pale. I knew something had happened before he had even explained what was going on. And he told me some guys approached him and wanted to go through his book sack and take his belongings. So I, in turn, when I got my little friend Lucille, and we took a ride back up to the store, me and him together, and I brought him out the car, and I let him introduce himself. I introduced myself, and I asked the young man in a stern manner, please not to confront him. He's not a part of the negativity. We're trying to use him as a pawn to bring us up. So from that point on, I didn't have any more trouble with that particular group of kids. As a matter of fact, I would go up to the store and they would holler, "Hey, old school, how you doing today? You know, how your son doing?" You know, a few of them even offered, or he even told me that if he had any problem with anybody in the neighborhood, that I could come and let them know and that they would take care of it. Not something that I would, you know, suggest or advise them to do, but they know their kind better than I do, you know. So fortunately, I didn't have that problem anymore. He went on, you know, he's a senior this year. He's doing great things. So he may be one of the success stories coming out of there. So at least that's what we hope.
Something else I remember, Linden used to have a Kroger's at 25th and 26th in that little shopping district where Brightside is now. It used to be a Kroger store, and families could walk to the Kroger store. Right now, there isn't a quality grocery store within the neighborhood.
My name is Felicia Wiley, and I'm a student at McKinley High School. I first moved down here probably around 2007. That's now it's 2012, I'm in 12th grade. And it was real quiet when I first moved over here. Peaceful, kids playing everywhere.
Janae, I work in the Linden area at Greater Linden. When I start working here, I did not know my way around the north side. I knew the number streets from getting off at the freeway at 17th. I could make my way up until the numbers ran out, and then I had no idea where I was at. So basically, I just didn't know the north side at all. I was from the east side, and I just somehow gravitated up here, and I'm working, and I've been up here for 5 years working, and now I know the whole area.
Maureen Quinn and my mom and my aunt were born and raised in Linden. My boyfriend was born and raised in Linden, and my daughter is currently a sophomore at Linden McKinley. Probably the first time my siblings and I came up here, my parents were at work, so we took the Coda bus from Grove City all the way up here. And at the time, my aunt and uncle were the only white family in their neighborhood. And we were told that white people weren't welcome in Linden, really. So we had to get off the bus at Cleveland and Hudson and walk to Dresden and Hudson, where my aunt and uncle live. And so we knew we were coming, so for a whole week we practiced running to see who could run the fastest. And when we got off the bus, we went charging, jumping fences. I got lost because my brothers ran ahead of me. So I just sat on the corner and started crying because I didn't know where it was. My aunt and uncle came and got me. But
Well, I'm hoping, like I indicated in my story, that perhaps things that help build community, help you and I become acquainted, we'll have more activities like that. Because that's one of the things I hear young people saying, there's nothing for us to do. I'm a bus commuter, and oftentimes I hear that same kind of conversation from commuters on the bus, passengers on the bus. There's nothing for us to do. I hear that when I go to recreation centers. There's nothing for us to do. There's plenty. It's just having people that are willing to volunteer their time in order to get those programs up and running. Douglas is one, but it primarily focuses on boxing. Not everybody likes boxing. Is there anything for the senior citizen there? I walked down there. It was nothing for me. Everything focused around being a boxer. I would like to see line dancing or some exercises. Even a swimming class, because there's a pool right down the street from me.
My name is Alexis Flynn, and my relationship is that I live in the Linden area and go to Linden McKinley. I think that right right now, Linden as a community is kind of turning downward, but I think that there's people in the community who like really want to help bring the community back up to its full potential.
I had a real negative thought about my past with Linden. I didn't know anything about it, and it was on the north side. I didn't come out here, but now that I've worked here for 5 years, it's basically the same thing, same neighborhood on a different side of town. So, you know, it's no different than any other neighborhood. You know, you would like for your people that you see to do a little bit more with themselves and want a little more. You know, I've stopped and talked to the guys out by the corner store, and I go out there and hand them flyers to stuff that we have, GED classes that people leave in our office and things like that. It's a little, let's say, it's a little sad that before I even walk away, they've already thrown them down. But hopefully, you know, one of them folded it up and put it in their pocket. You know, I'm 30 something. So, you know, I'm not afraid to approach them, you know, and I don't mind going out there talking to them. So I'll go out there, you know, what you want to do, what you going to do with your life, or, you know, just take the flyer. You don't want to, you know, say nothing to me while everybody out here. So one of y'all call. So hopefully with me talking to them, at least one of them might do something with herself. But that's the present. I just want my people to step it up a bit.
Linden present is bad. There's lots of abandoned houses, lots of crime. And it's sad to see the community that it was turn into what it is now.
I haven't been the same. Like it looks like nobody lives over there. Looks real. It's not gonna say it looks bad. It just looks like it's empty. I don't see kids playing. If I do see kids out there, they doing something they shouldn't be doing. I live off of East North Broadway now, but I still come over here a lot because my friends still live over here. A lot of my friends live in this neighborhood. I see more kids, a little bit more kids than what I used to see. When it first started snowing, they'd be outside playing in the snow. And since it's not snowing and it's cold, everybody in the house, so nobody really like coming outside when it's cold. But I still see some little kids playing around. I still see the same boys at the store. The same people, like, I don't really see no new people come around. A lot of people on Briarwood have moved. Mr. and Mrs. Brown, they was like the mother and fathers of that street. And Mr. Brown, I believe he died. And Mrs. Brown, I haven't heard from her. I believe she still live in the house though. But they were so sweet. They was like, they talked to everybody, checked on everybody, see how everybody was doing. They were just always sweet, nice to talk to.
I think they're trying to put the pieces in place, you know, to make it somewhere that people, you know, feel good about, you know, living, you know, in. And just like everything else, you know, it takes time, you know. There's going to be some obstacles, you know, that the community is going to be confronted with, both from the past and some of the future. But I can say that the present is definitely better than the future, the past. And I'm hoping that that's the scale, you know, it continues to, you know, get better instead of declining per se. So that's what I'm hoping.
Now, we've been here about 4 years. I can see things are changing and turning around for the better, which is always a good thing, a positive plus. The schools, they're changing the format of the schools, they're redoing the schools, the neighborhoods, and just when you go outside and you see a different attitude that people have about their surroundings, and it's a positive attitude that makes you feel good inside. Because opposed if you're walking outside and you're seeing someone on the corner selling drugs, now because there's camera everywhere, they're not on the corner selling drugs. So that gives you that hope that things are gonna get better. Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that the police station's like right across the street, and some of the people here are very friendly, and because you see them constantly, it's, hey, how you doing? And you might not know them by name, but you know them by face. So things are changing, and things are better than what they were when we first got here.
I got the house in May 2001, and I think around September of that year, there was a festival. And I was indoors doing some work, and I happened to hear a band, drums and whatnot. And I went out to the front to try to see what was taking place. And lo and behold, it was Linden McKinley's band. There was a parade taking place on Cleveland Avenue, and they walked straight past my house again. I could just sit on the porch and enjoy the view. The parade turned, I think, on Windsor and went back to, it ended at St. Stephen's. And that's when I learned that St. Stephen's had a regular Pride Festival each year. And a parade was a part of it. So the children marched from Linden McKinley to Windsor and then back over to St. Stephen's Community House. So I really enjoyed that. But as the years, and that was year 2001, but unfortunately as the years went by, that parade disappeared.
What I get out of Linden is a good education, knowing that I'm in the advanced placement classes, so that really helps me out. Going into the college level next year, I can retake the classes, so I pretty much have an overview instead of somebody just going in there fresh, not knowing pretty much what they're doing, so I can do it at the high school level, taking the classes and then retake them, having an overview at the college level. And everybody's looking at you as a role model, so every day you're just being watched by youngers and peers to do the right thing. Even so much as you don't brush your hair, little kids are going to try to pick up that trade. So you just have to watch everything you do. Linden overall is pretty good. It's a pretty good school choice for me.
I've been able to bring an enormous amount of positivity. I've been able to go out into the community and bring parents that normally weren't able to come to any of our events that are now able to come to our events. I've been able to bring Blueprint, which is through I Know I Can. We've been able to establish our PTO, which is something that we were not able to have last year. So this year is going to be a great, wonderful year as we're going to bring more and exciting new things. And we're also going to be working with Greater Linden to bring more projects to the greater part of Linden.
Hoping to be able to go tour Linden McKinley. I've watched them revitalize it and bring it back up, so I want to go tour the school, and I'm looking forward to getting an opportunity to be able to do so.
This is Brian Alexander. I'm a supporter of Linden McKinley, and I'm just going to share with you my experience as a parent of a child that's an athlete. I went to 3 years worth of football games. The winning record wasn't as good as I had anticipated, but I would get really emotional with the referees, the coaches, and the players, and sometimes even the fans. If I hear a fan say something negative about my kid and his ability, I'm ready to go bananas. And make sure you understand what bananas mean.
Since Linden McKinley has been revitalized, and we do have a Columbus Crew over there too, I see that a lot of opportunity for a lot of growth and development to come through the Linden area. I think that the focus for rebuilding, bringing in new housing, and bringing in businesses and jobs will really help. So I'm looking forward to a brighter future for the Linden area.
With community support, hopefully it can come back to what it used to be.
Hope and pray that it continues to thrive and they bring more businesses back into the community, because we do have a lot of homes that are abandoned. They can fix up the homes or either tear them down and start new. I know Greater Linden has different projects where they are building some of the houses up, and so that's always a plus. So I would just like them to continue to thrive, and the schools to thrive, the neighborhoods, and people to take more pride in, you know, what's going on around them, and opposed to being a part of the problem, be a part of the solution. Tell me about your outlook for Linden's future.
I think that in Linden's future, it's going to be a safer place for people to live, and a happier place with less abandoned buildings. So it'll look like a prettier and better community.
It's also Linden future, thinking about being able to call some of my neighbors by their first name. I have to admit, being a part of the civic groups in the neighborhood, I have learned, I've been introduced to a number of good people, and I have learned to speak to them by first name. And it is very rewarding, it's very comforting when I go out and do some grocery shopping. I have yet to visit a doctor's office in the Linden neighborhood, but from time to time, when I'm on the bus or I'm just out walking, if I'm picking up litter in my neighborhood, I can wave and say, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. Eldridge? Hey, how you doing, Miss Holmes?" And that's something that I look forward to in the future. Communities used to be very close-knit, and now, because of communication technology, we have somewhat drifted apart because families live on opposite ends, opposite sides of the country. That small community is what's so vitally needed for young people and for senior citizens to feel safe.
I would like to see more creativity. I would like to see more kids playing in the neighborhood. I would like to see a lot of the boys from not hanging around the store and doing something productive with their time.
There's some things that have to be done, you know. We can't ignore, the crime, we can't ignore some of the social problems that the community is faced with every day. Our kids, and I think once we can come up with a solution, to change some of that, I think, we can't do anything else but go up.
I would like for the teenagers to really grasp what's going on around them and realize that there's no handouts and that they all need to pass their OGTs so they can graduate and be a good product of the Linden area and the whole area, and just know that those middle school kids that are in the high school, because they're starting to switch all the high schools to 7th to 12th grade now, so the seniors need to realize that the 7th graders are looking at them, and it just goes on, and so they need to set that example and start talking to them and telling them what's important, this is what you should do, and things like that. Get involved or mentor them or something, but everybody has somebody to look up to, and somebody could very well be looking up at that 12th grader.